Okay, so before you do this part, you should review the point videos, where I think it's called adding points, and this works for the subtraction and multiplication, all of them. You want to look at those as a guide to how you interact with the variables between the two, like the object that you're passing and this part of the object, the left and the right in this case. But what we really need to review, I think, all you guys need to go back and review fractions. But let me give you a tip that makes this a lot easier. Usually, when you're doing this kind of math in, I don't know, 5th grade, maybe, you do in this particular example, you would find the least common denominator. I think is what it was called. In other words, this is 12. This is 4. The least common denominator between the two is 12, because basically 1/4 is 3/12, right? So you can just convert everything to 12 on the bottom and then add, and you get 10/12. 10/12 can reduce to 5/6, because you divide 10 by 2, you get 5. You divide 12 by 2, you get 6. Make it easier on yourself, because the computer, before you're done, you're going to do a reduction, a reduce utility method that will reduce everything for you. So do everything in the most expanded form that you can in order to make this simpler for you. So for the add, here's what you do. Take the two denominators, that's not denominator, these two denominators, and multiply them together, and you get 48. Let me do that. Pen, 48. Then take whichever side you want to start with, because this is addition. The order doesn't matter. Subtract it does, but addition it doesn't. Take the denominator of one side and multiply it by the numerator of the other. So the denominator of one fraction, in this case 4, would be the left fraction. The right fraction. Multiply the 4 on the right side by the 7 on the left side. And 7 times 4 is 28. So in other words, you're going to have, if you just multiply these together, that's a common denominator. They both divide evenly into 48, because you just multiply them together. So you want to multiply this by the thing that by the factor on the other side. So you multiply the 7 by 4, and then over here you multiply take the denominator of the left and multiply it by the numerator on the right. So 12 times 1 is 12, obviously. So you take these two together, add them together, and you get what? 2 and 8. You're going to get 40. So you get 40. Your answer in non-reduced form will be 40 over 48. And that's okay. As you're writing your program, just check these things and make sure it makes sense. And then at the end, do the reduction and see if you get the right answer. Well, all you need to know right now, before you finish all these other ones too, you can leave it like this until the very end. All you have to make sure you check is that 40 48ths is equivalent to 5/6. And I think it is, right? Because 5 times 8 is 40, and 6 times 8 is 48. So 8's your common factor there. So yeah, 6 times 8 is 48. 5 times 8 is 40, so 40 48ths is the same as 5/6. At the end, you're going to write this reduce function that will change that automatically for you. And the way you do that, just Google GCD, greatest common divisor, and use that to figure out. In this case, you would figure out that it's 8, and you just divide the top and the bottom by that number, the greatest common divisor. In this case, it would be 8. So you divide 8 into 40 and you get 5, 8 into 48 and you get 6. So, still got some time left. So let's go ahead and, that's not what I meant to do. Go back to NetBeans. Let's look at the actual fraction side of it. So what I was showing you was the driver, is what I call it. Be sure you read all these comments too. I put these in here on purpose. This tells you everything you need to do with this. You don't have to turn this fraction test in when you're done. You just need to turn in fraction. This is that thing you're actually building over here. This tests it. But before you turn in your work, before you turn in fraction.java, make sure that it works properly with this exact file right here with no changes. Make sure it gives you the right answers and everything. You can modify this as much as you want, even though I say you can't. Just make sure that what you finish on the fraction.java side works with a unmodified version of this. Anyway, so I've gone ahead and given you like skeleton. This is the parameterless constructor. This is the two-argument constructor. And you notice these messages, they should be gone at the end. They're just printing out that it's not implemented to let you know. So you should like either comment them out or get rid of them. Return new fraction here. You need to return the exact fraction that's the answer. It probably won't be parameterless. It will have a numerator and denominator, right? You need to do the math that I just showed you right here. Do the math. To do, implement addition. Do the math I just showed you. The 40 over 48, for instance, depending on what the other fraction is. Refer to the adding points thing to see how to do that. And then you return the answer with, basically you would, for this case, you would return new fraction 40, 48, or the variables that have those values in them. So do these things, and then the last thing you'll do is this reduce. Again, Google GCD, and you'll get some algorithms about how to do that. You should give credit to that, actually, whichever algorithm you find. Find the greatest common divisor, and then what you want to do, use that point. If you look at the point videos, I show you how to do this. Probably inside of this particular constructor, the last thing you would have, instead of this line, you would have reduce. And then every time you create a new fraction, it will automatically reduce it. So you don't have, once you've created the logic for it down here, just stick it in up here, and it will do it for you. I think that's all the hints I'm going to give to you. If you look at all these videos, this should make sense. But of course, there's office hours. Just a reminder, office hours are during class time, every class time. So unless I cancel it or something. So if I don't give you an announcement, that means I should be waiting in Microsoft Teams for anybody who needs help. So far, not really anybody's come. So take advantage of that if you need it. One other thing about the lab, I think I should have, if you look, make myself a student. This video has gone a little longer than I want it to, but that's okay. If you look at the assignments at the lab, it has a rubric. I just want to show you the rubric and explain that. So always use these rubrics as a guide. I think it should be included here. Show rubric. So yeah, the UML diagram's worth 10 points. So that part 1, that's really just 10 points. Make sure you do something that's decent. If there's minor errors, you get most of the points. If there's major errors, you get half. If you don't do it, you get 0. So consult this rubric as you're working and make sure you're getting all these parts. So the arithmetic's 10 points each. The reduce is only 5 points. I think that could be kind of hard for people to get, so I made it worth less points, fewer points. The constructors, the parameterless is 5. The 2R constructor is the most important one, so I made it 20. And getting the right instance variables, you should have a numerator and denominator. That's it. If you have more than that, you won't get full credit. So that's all. If you got that, you'll get 20 points. So consult the rubric as you're working.